Welcome back to Story Surfer, where real-life drama rides the waves of truth, tension, and sometimes total chaos. In today's roller coaster story, we dive deep into a multi-year saga of loyalty, lies, and life lessons. Through the eyes of a college student caught in the tangled web of his roommate's repeated betrayals. This isn't just about cheating. It's about choices, consequences, and how silence can sometimes shout louder than words. Buckle up. I, M21, have known my friend Matt, M21, since we started college. We've been roommates since day one, both enrolled in the same academic program. Overall, Matt's a good guy, charismatic, smart, and funny. But he has one serious flaw: Matt cheats in every relationship he's been in. Over the course of college, he's had at least 5 to 7 girlfriends, and every single one of those relationships ended because he couldn't stay faithful. I've never really understood why he does it. He's not lacking in attention or affection, he just seems restless. Then came Jen, F21. Matt started dating her in January of our final year. And unlike the others, he stuck with her. She was different, kind, intelligent, beautiful, and from my interactions with her, genuinely in love with Matt. But trouble was brewing. Matt was placed in an anatomy lab group with Cindy, F21. Pretty soon, it became obvious that there was something going on between them, something more than just studying anatomy. She started showing up at our house. We could all see the writing on the wall. Kyle, Robert, Omar, and I, our house of 5, were all aware of what Matt was doing. Matt himself made it clear. He told us outright that he was spending nights at Cindy's place, that Jen didn't know, and that we'd need to cover for him if she came by. Kyle and Robert were down to lie. Bro code, they called it. Omar was against it. He wouldn't lie, and he made that clear. I sat somewhere in the middle. I told Matt I wasn't going to rat him out. But I wasn't going to lie either. If Jen came by asking questions, I'd just say, I don't know. Of course, this created tension in the house. Matt and the others thought I was being difficult, but I wasn't going to compromise my integrity just because someone else was doing something wrong. Then it happened. Jen came over one night. She asked where Matt was. I told her I didn't know. Kyle jumped in and said Matt was at his lab. But he wasn't. He was at Cindy's. We all knew it. And Jen had no idea. She left, unconvinced, but thanked us. Later that night, Matt texted the group chat saying he was going to bring Cindy over. He asked if Jen had stopped by. I replied, yes, but she was gone. Only Omar and I were home at the time. A little after 8 p.m., Jen returned with her friend Carly. This time, Omar didn't hold back. He told them Matt would be back around 8:30. I argued with him, but he didn't care. He said Matt had brought this on himself. Sure enough, Matt walked in with Cindy shortly after. And right behind them came Jen and Carly. What followed was chaos. Jen confronted Matt in the living room. There was yelling, tears, lies, and denials. But the truth was already out there. Jen left, heartbroken. Cindy was sent home. Matt was furious. But not because he hurt Jen. He was mad at Omar for letting her in. He blamed poor timing. He blamed bad luck. He blamed everyone but himself. He said he'd try to apologize. But if Jen didn't take him back, he'd just move on. And Cindy? He planned to dump her after exams, said he wanted to be single by New Year's for a fresh start. Kyle and Robert laughed at that. I stayed quiet. And I made it clear to Matt, keep me out of this from now on. But this was just the beginning. After the big blow-up, you'd think Matt would lay low. But nah. He was surprisingly unfazed. He shrugged off Jen's heartbreak like it was just another oops, and reassured us that he'd be single again soon after he dumped Cindy. Of course, Cindy had no idea any of this was happening behind her back. In the aftermath, I found out through Carly, who shares a class with me, that Jen was devastated. She and her roommates considered everyone in our house, except Omar, complicit in Matt's betrayal. And honestly, I couldn't even blame them. Kyle's girlfriend Olivia heard about the whole ordeal and was furious, too. Kyle tried to spin the situation, told her he had no idea Matt was cheating. Robert backed him up, and somehow, Kyle got away with it. As for me, I was planning to tell Carly the truth, but when I saw how quickly Kyle and Robert jumped into damage control and got off clean, I backed out. I told Carly I didn't know Matt was cheating. Yeah, it was a lie. But at that point, I didn't want to go down with the ship, especially when I had objected to Matt's behavior from the start. Carly believed me. Said she didn't think I was so bad, but Jen would still need time to process everything. Fair enough. Meanwhile, Matt was already trying to rekindle things with Jen. She wanted nothing to do with him. Cindy, still clueless, was acting like she was winning the boyfriend jackpot. Matt made fun of it behind her back. He said he felt guilty, but not guilty enough to stop himself from trying to reactivate Tinder. Kyle told him to shut that down fast, said someone might recognize him and that it would ruin his heartbroken victim image. Honestly, the whole thing made me nauseous. Omar stayed out of the lies and continued to call Matt out, even if Matt ignored him. But in Kyle's words, Omar's voice is basically ambient noise now. I started visiting my parents more, just to get away from the drama. Then came Matt's next plot twist. He had no intention of breaking up with Cindy anytime soon. He realized that staying in her good graces benefited him in class, especially since their anatomy prof might write him a recommendation letter. Omar had a field day with this. He taunted Matt non-stop. You can't be a hoe anymore, your GPA depends on it. You don't love her. You just love the grade curve. And Matt? He couldn't say anything because it was true. As the semester ended and winter break approached, we all started going our separate ways. But the mess wasn't over. Far from it. Carly told me Jen had reconnected with an old ex and was doing better emotionally. Cindy, still in the dark, kept playing girlfriend like nothing was wrong. And Matt? He was already lining up potential replacements. By February, Matt was back to his old tricks, again. This time, we found out Matt had cheated on Cindy. Yes, the same Cindy he claimed to be stuck with for the sake of a recommendation letter. Apparently, she'd become too clingy and too annoying, and that gave him enough reason, at least in his mind, to start seeing someone else behind her back. Omar and I didn't even know this was happening. Matt had gotten sneakier since the Jen fiasco and was now only sharing the real dirt with Kyle. Kyle knew Matt had been cheating again for weeks and didn't tell anyone. When Omar asked Kyle if Olivia knew about this round of cheating, Kyle laughed awkwardly. Of course not. Why would he risk ruining his own relationship over someone else's disaster? That's when Matt dropped his plan. He said he'd break up with Cindy by reading week. Spoiler, he didn't. I told Matt, again, that he needed to stop this mess. Try to actually respect a relationship. He nodded, promised he would. But I could already tell he was lying to himself, and us. Kyle, as usual, enabled it all. Robert? He didn't say much. He never does unless Kyle leads the charge. Me? I was counting down the days till our lease ended. March came, and Matt finally dumped Cindy. Said he waited until the lab class was mostly independent so he wouldn't need her help anymore. Omar was livid, taunted Matt with gems like, "You dumped her the moment she lost value to your GPA." Honestly, it wasn't far from the truth. Cindy, apparently, was heartbroken. But Matt didn't care. He moved on to a new girl almost immediately. This time, he swore things would be different. Said if it went well, he'd even try a long-distance relationship when med school started. Even Kyle and Robert didn't buy that. I was telling my own girlfriend more about everything now. She hated Matt. Didn't like Kyle either. She was deep in LSAT prep and dealing with her own stress, but she told me I needed to start pushing back harder. So I did. And to be honest, it felt good. Matt hated it, but for the first time, everyone started holding him accountable, even his loyal crew. Meanwhile, Cindy disappeared from our lives completely. Jen, on the other hand, was doing much better. Carly told me she was dating someone new. She still hadn't seen Matt since the blow-up. But graduation was coming. And fate had a funny way of tying off loose ends. By late April, we were finally wrapping up undergrad. The finish line was in sight. Final exams came and went, and our lease officially ended. I handed in my keys, packed my bags, and walked away from the house that had been our dysfunctional home for 4 years. No more covering for Matt. No more bro code dilemmas. No more drama. I was free. Med school was next, new city, new people, new chance to breathe. And finally, peace. Matt. He'd also gotten into med school, his dream one, no less. He was ecstatic. But true to form, he was still up to the same old nonsense. Said he was now above Tinder. Now he was swiping on Bumble and Hinge. Claimed he was ready for a committed relationship this time. None of us believed him. Kyle also got into med school, though just one school, out of province. He and Olivia tried long distance, but it didn't last. He broke up with her around winter break, said it was too hard. Funny how it was always too hard when effort was involved. From what I heard later through Carly, Olivia's friends were relieved. Apparently, they thought she deserved someone who didn't coast on being charming while lying behind her back. Robert and Omar didn't get in that cycle. They both went into master's programs, Robert into a research-heavy one, and Omar into a course-based option. Omar was frustrated, he had the grades, the volunteer work, everything, but still got rejected. Honestly, it sucked. He deserved better. As for me, my summer was bliss. I spent time with my girlfriend, visited family, traveled a bit. Played video games until 2 a.m. slept in like I was in high school again. Pure peace. Matt and Kyle. Still in touch, but less often. I saw them once in May with a group of guys, we caught up, but I kept my distance. Carly and I kept in close touch. She's in med school in the US and constantly stressed about safety, tuition, and how intense it is. Her anxiety sometimes bled into our chats, but I didn't mind. She was always honest, and I respected that. Jen. Still with the guy she met after Matt, working as a research assistant and planning to go back to school soon. I hadn't seen her in months, but Carly kept me posted. Then came graduation. Matt and Jen saw each other for the first time in 6 months. He said, "Hi." She said, "Hi," back. That was it. She walked off, head held high. I never admired her more. It's been a full year since we all parted ways. Undergrad feels like a lifetime ago now. I finished my first year of med school. It was hard, but fulfilling. Made new friends. Stayed close to the old ones who mattered. And best of all, my girlfriend and I made it through. She just wrapped up undergrad and is about to start law school. Matt? He's still Matt. We've only seen each other 3 times since we moved out. His dating life? A continued disaster. Apparently, he only cheated twice this year. Which, if you know him, is almost a record low. He said one time was a genuine lapse and the other didn't count because they weren't exclusive. Both girls dumped him. He still can't date anyone in our old social circle. His reputation is that bad. I still don't get how someone like Jen ever gave him the time of day. Kyle. Also in med school now, different province. He broke up with Olivia during winter break, claimed long distance was too much. He's been seeing someone new, though I haven't met her. Carly told me Olivia's friends were all happy the relationship ended. They thought she gave way more than she got. They weren't wrong. Omar and Sarah didn't last either. Different visions for the future. Sarah's about to start dental school, at the same school Kyle's attending, actually. From what I hear, she's not thrilled about that. Omar's still working on his master's. He got rejected from med school again, despite doing everything right. Grades, research, volunteering, he had it all. It's honestly disheartening. Last time we spoke, he was seriously considering applying overseas. Robert's still in his thesis-based master's. Still fascinated by his random-ass cytokines. He says he regrets not stepping in more when Matt was cheating on his girlfriends. So do I. Looking back, I probably could have done more, spoken up sooner, pushed harder. But we were young, and sometimes cowardice wears the mask of minding your own business. Cindy's still around. Didn't graduate with us. Rob's seen her a few times, said she always looks miserable. Maybe that's on Matt. Maybe it's not. But it's hard not to feel bad for her. As for Jen. Still with the same guy. Still thriving. Still carrying herself with grace and dignity. I haven't seen her since graduation, but from everything I've heard, she's at peace. That's more than I can say for some. Some stories don't end with fireworks. Sometimes, they just fade, into the past, into memory. What started as one guy's messy relationship became a mirror, reflecting choices, regrets, and the quiet truth that doing nothing, is also a choice. In the end, life moves on. Some people grow. But for those who learned something, who dared to look inward, maybe the drama was worth it. Thanks for riding the wave with Story Surfer. If this tale of loyalty, lies, and late-night drama had you hooked, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories just as wild. Until next time, keep your morals steady, even when the surf gets messy.